Today I'm excited to show you 4 of my favorite tricks on laying out documents in Google Docs. Google Docs is the word processor that goes along with the Google Workspace Office Suite. It's an acceptable word processor, and there are little tricks to make it a lot better and easier for you to make great looking documents. So first, let's start up a new document. Let me show you my 4 little favorite tricks. You see how I quickly made that document with this link? I'll put the link to the video to show you how to make your own links for quickly creating documents. So here I've got my Google document, and I'm going to show you 4 little tricks on laying out your document. The first one is not really a Google Doc tip. It's called how to use word processing, and it's on tabs. Tabs can be confusing at times, especially when you're new starting out. By default, there's a tab every ½ inch. You notice it goes right along with my ½ inch marks. Well, that works okay, but my golden rule of word processing: if you have to hit the same key twice, there's probably a better way of doing it. Up here in the tool ruler, we can just click to add a tab. Now, when I click, there's 3 different types of tabs I can add. The left tab stop is the one used the most. When I click it, that little guy shows up, and now I can tab over and put things at 2 5/8 inches or wherever that is. That works okay, but what's confusing with a tab is if I have a document written, I got the next great American masterpiece done right here by stealing from 2 other different authors. Anyway, when you work with tabs, tabs only affects the paragraph you're on, and if you hit a return on a paragraph that has tabs, those tabs will continue on. What that means is, if I go between these 2 paragraphs and add a tab, we'll add one here at 2 inches. And I'm just clicking to add the tab. That is only on this paragraph. A paragraph is it can be 1 or more lines that ends with a return. This is a paragraph because it ends with a return right here. But you notice if I click here, my tab's there. If I click up here, the tab is gone. Tabs are very specific to the paragraph you're on, which just will drive you nuts because you'll be, I created that tab, where did it go? Well, because you moved on or you created it after you created your document. If I go down here and create a tab, we'll create this one at 2 inches. And as I add paragraphs, and I lost my spot. And I shouldn't have done the paste because I lost my tab. Try that again. When I do the paste, it also loses my tab. So they'll drive you nuts if you're not careful. 2 ways around that. 1, select all before you create your tabs. That will set the tab for the entire document. Even that 2-inch one that's on this paragraph right here, as soon as I click out of that paragraph, it goes away. But because I did the select all, that tab stays. Or create the tab when you need it. And see, I've still got that. I'm gonna get rid of this tab here because I don't want it anymore. Oh, to get rid of a tab, select all, because I created this one with select all, and just drag it off and it'll disappear. This paragraph here is where I started my 3-inch, my tab stop at 3 inches. That will continue as long as I'm hitting return to create another paragraph. But if I click off of that, the tab stop goes away. So that will drive you nuts as you're trying to work with it. And I don't know, that's the way it's always been since the dawn of word processing. I don't know why. Maybe so you want to have different tabs for different paragraphs, I'm assuming. If it's going to confuse you or you're just starting out, just do a select all before you set your tabs. I'm going to get rid of this tab. and show you what the other tab stops are. So I can hit a tab, and the left tab stop's the one you was used to. When you hit it, the text goes off to the left. So I'm going to create a new tab for this one. Center tab. This is, whoops, I need to tab over to it. This is a center tab. It'll center your text that you type on that tab, which makes it kind of nice sometimes when you're formatting your document. Finally, the right tab stop puts the text to the right. It justifies it on the right side. This is a right tab stop. I use right tab stops usually here at the end of the line. And it's hard to put it right there, so I'll add the right tab stop and then I'll move it over. And see, now that right tab stop's there, so I can put like name. And then I can hit the return, and that's a right tab stop, so then I can put date or whatever else you'd want for that. And so I know those are lined up right on the sides. So let me show you how to do that again. If I want to put that right tab stop so I can put stuff off to here, it's really hard to put it behind that, where the right margin is, but you can always put it outside here and then just drag it over. And you'll notice the left tab stop has a triangle pointing kind of to the right. The center tab stop has both sides on it, and then the right tab stop has the arrow to the right. So you can look right away and know, but sometimes they're behind numbers, so it's kind of hard. So that's your first trick for today, is using tabs to help you line things up. If you have to press the same key twice, there's probably a better way of doing it. Second is 2-column text. I don't remember where it is. See, sometimes you forget where things are. Underneath format, there's columns. So you can have 2 columns, you can have 3 columns, you can have as many columns as you want. Why would you want this? Usually when you're doing a newsletter, you want the stories to line up in 2 columns instead of having taken up the whole page. Under format, you can make your document 2 columns, and there, look, it kind of looks like a newspaper already. Makes it really, really nice to set up your document in 2 columns. Third layout trick is using invisible tables. And what do I mean by that? Sometimes you want to line things up on your document. You can, and usually it's with graphics, and Google Docs isn't very good with placing graphics where you want, but you can use a table to kind of set up a grid and put your graphics how you want them, and then you make the lines of the table invisible so they don't show up in your document. I'm going to show you that. We're going to insert a table here, just do 3 columns apart. And inside each one of these, we're going to put a graphic. And inside each one of these, we're going to put a graphic. And that one didn't go in, but I'm just going to click and drag it over. And then inside each one of these, you don't really need to worry about this because, look, very easily put 3 graphics side by side. You see how it's hard to, you need to select the table. And the easiest way to do that is to click and drag over it. Format table and go to table properties. And where it says table border, you can either make that white or you can put this at 0. Once I do that, the lines disappear and it looks like my pictures are right there in the document side by side. Now it doesn't show you any sort of ghost outline of the table, which is kind of a pain. If you wanted to modify that table, you're going to have to highlight it. And sometimes, see, I can't right click to format the table because I've got more than the table. Control Z, Control Z. If you're on a Mac, Command Z. Anytime something like that happens, undo. it'll make your life a lot better. Okay, so I clicked right on the right side of it and drug left to highlight the table. Table properties, and let's add that border back so we can see different things. So we have our table here. Now I want to add captions for each one of these pictures. Well, if I hit tab, it's going to add another box underneath it. So I can say red trains, and we'll center that. Now when I make the table cells disappear, I've got some nice little captions. Very, very cool. We can take this one step further. Highlight just that bottom row, and see this little guy right here, this little down arrow thing? I can say, put a border around that. And it selected the border around it, but it's still white. Or it changed it to black when I did that. Oop. Oh. Select that border, and it was black. I had 0 points. Make that 1. Actually, let's make that 2. Make it kind of thick. So now we have those selected. So that looks pretty good. So that is using tables to line up items and help you organize items on the page. I'm using graphics here, but you can do it with any amount of text that you kind of want to put side by side, but it's hard to do as a normal, in the normal document. Finally, my last trick is inserting drawing objects. Sometimes you just want the freedom to place items wherever you want. We can go to the drawing object, insert a drawing object, and we can do all sorts of fun stuff. Look at that, isn't that cool? You can use that for headers if you're doing a newsletter. Let me go back and make my 2 columns again. Look at that for your headers. We'll add another one down here. We can copy this one to give our document some consistency. We can copy this one, paste it, and then change the text. But I'm going to create a new one altogether just so you can see how I did that. So I put the cursor where I wanted the drawing object to be. Insert, drawing, new. Boom. Pow. So those are my 4 little tips on setting up Google Documents. Setting up tabs, using 2 columns, using a table for layout, and inserting drawing objects. You can always rewind if I went too fast for you. Thank you for watching. Be sure to like this video and subscribe to the channel. And also check out my website at educate.me. Stay classy.